It's a chilly, nice December morning. There's a little squirrel. Hey, squirrel. What are you doing this morning? I hope I'm getting you on the camera. These little squirrels like this weather. They like it like this. At night, it might be getting a little chilly for them, but they hunker down in their nest in the trees and whatnot. But it's cool weather for those squirrels. You gotta imagine all the bugs and stuff when it's hot out. These little squirrels got nice little fur coats. There's some of the snow squirrel. I've never seen. I don't think I've ever seen one even at a zoo, but people post them a lot on the internet. Those little squirrels with the big, like, I don't know, they got like the fur that sticks off the top of their ears. They're pretty neat. But it's good to get out and get some fresh air in the morning and kind of think about things. And one thing about any time, not just out in the morning walking around, but particularly when it's nice and chilly like this, it's helpful to kind of feel very much in the moment of things. But we need to practice doing that all the time. So when we find ourselves in a situation where we have that sort of sense of what we call presence, or really being aware of our surroundings and how we're feeling internally and externally, we need to try to capture that, and it's really gets back to even brainwave patterns and all these sorts of things. We need to sort of be aware of how we get into that state of mind, because we can teach ourselves these things. Or we teach, just like we teach ourselves how to throw a baseball or to paint or to play a musical instrument. We also teach ourselves how to get in certain frames of mind. And one of the things that people have known for a very long time, but has become quite more proven, I guess you would say, with more scientific kinds of measurements and that kind of thing, and studies, is that a lot of our personality conditions that many people will suffer from can all kind of be traced back to some sort of traumatic event or period of sometimes they call it post-traumatic stress disorder, often with people who have experienced some sort of very shocking event. And the body, the mind, but not just the mind, but the entire nervous system, all through the body, they know now, records that information. And then it's a survival mechanisms, probably, of some sort, to then bring us back into that moment of anxiousness or whatever. And it's not good for everyday living. But now they've taken that concept and said a lot of these other personality issues that we have are the same things, essentially. It's just that the trauma happened, or the injury. It's an injury, just like you hurt your arm or your leg or your foot or something, It's an injury in the nervous system, in the brain, and through the body. The body, actually, all through the body, feels these. It's not just, it's really kind of complicated. That's not well understood, but it's not, apparently not, they don't think it's just the neurology in the brain itself, but all through the nerves, all in the body, which makes a lot of sense, because if you think of the way athletes become really good at something, they call it like muscle memory. They've practiced it so many times that in other things that we do, you don't have to be an athlete, but the body will respond and react automatically almost to a reaction. So there's not a lot of thinking that has to go on, but that apparently has a double-edged sword, because there's other things that we don't want to reenact or have brought back up, but our body continuously brings them back. And so even these things that happen to us when we're young can reemerge throughout our lives. And but it's good that we've started to really acknowledge that, not just in the ancient ways of thinking about improving ourselves and bettering ourselves, but that the scientific community is also acknowledging these things, and that gives a lot of hope for curing and bettering ourselves. But one thing about all of that is in the more of the ancient ways of thinking about healing the body and the mind, there's a thing called mindfulness, or being present. But now psychology and whatnot and neurology are confirming, they might use a different terminology, but that's essentially part of the training and re-healing the brain and healing ourselves, is this idea that we need to be aware of all of our senses and of the moment to sort of bring ourselves out of the state of mind, or sometimes what might be called in some ways a dissociated self, or we need to be our real selves, the healthy us, the healthy sense of who we are, and it gets a little more complicated, but the point I was just trying to make is that when you're walking like this in the cold, and you not even really cold, chilly, and you're breathing in the air, and you're hearing the birds, and you're seeing the sky, and all of these things, you're here where you're at now. And if you allow yourself to breathing, you're connected to your breathing, because that's immediate right now. That's essential to your life at this moment. All of those things help you to build this conscious awareness of where you're at right here and now. And when you're like that, there is no trauma right now. It's beautiful right now, right? Like, it's just a beautiful, beautiful day. And there's nothing here right now that's threatening. And 99% of the time in our lives, that is the case. There is nothing really threatening us. It's something to be grateful for, and to feel happy about, and thankful for, and be excited for. And that's, the more we can be there, there is no trauma in that moment, and it relieves us of the stress and the trauma and the things that might be causing us to act and react or behave in ways that are not beneficial to ourselves or the people around us. And they know that people with PTSD now can be healed from that. I think people knew that a long time ago, but they know, there's many, many case studies of that have actually happening now. And so science has confirmed this. And a big part of that is identifying a situation of calmness and peace that you're in, so that then you can, and the self-talk and talking to yourself like you're a friend, and saying things are okay. This happens to everybody. We have to work through them, be strong. Also, when trauma does happen, it's also, they know it's important to, if you can, to try and address it as soon as close to the time that it does happen. So, but that's not always the case. But doesn't always work that way. But with soldiers and things, there's one example. They know now that they need to decompress these people if they've witnessed something really bad and traumatic, like the types of things that can happen in war, but it can happen in everyday life. It can be something like a car crash, but it can also be more of a interpersonal interaction that you have, or have over and over again with one particular person or something. And so it starts to get your brain starts to establish this pattern that, hey, when I see this person or go to this place, this terrible thing happens, and the brain starts to create all these defense mechanisms that might be somewhat helpful in that moment, but now they're harmful when we're outside of that moment. So when you're in a state of mind, a state of flow, or state of mindfulness, and you can see yourself there, try to feel what that's happening, not just enjoy it at that moment and the benefit from it at that moment, but try to train your brain how to get back to that place. It's very, very important. It's like It's just as important as all the other kinds of training and things that we do to try to keep ourselves healthy, just like the good foods we try to eat, the exercise we try to get, understanding our state of mind as well. And again, I keep saying that I think people before the times of a lot of media and television and radio and the internet and all these things, I think it was much easier for them to understand that aspect of life. But now our thinking and everything gets distracted from trying to strengthen our mind in that way and that sort of thing. We're constantly being interfered with mentally, and so we have to take a proactive approach towards that. But look at this beautiful planet we live on, planet Earth. Isn't it beautiful? I love you.